together a smart contract where I can make an offering into our marketplace, the staking marketplace. A node operator can then take that contract. All the payments go into that smart contract, and every month he gets his portion, whatever we agree upon in the marketplace for a revenue split, and I get mine. And at the end, when he leaves, I get my deposit back, and it's all executed via smart contract.
Hey, Chris, thank you so much for making yourself available. Really, really appreciate it. And you are one of the team at Ether1, and that's what we're going to be talking about. And Ether1 are also one of the projects that's part of the Blockchain Privacy, Security, and Adoption Alliance. And I'll have all the relevant links in the description below. There is a crazy, crazy altcoin season going on, right? Altcoins are going to be jumping and pumping, and some of them are going to be dumping. And you want to know which ones are going to be flying. Now, at this point, I would recommend you take a look at token metrics and how they use artificial intelligence and human intelligence to pick out the top picks. Now, if you use my link in the description below, it'll help you find the best altcoins to invest in over a day period, a week period, a month period, and longer, or to trade in. And you can see the results that they've produced, like ridiculous results. Use my link, you'll get a 7 days free trial, and you can try it out. And there are already a couple of projects that are under the radar that I have found out about through token metrics that have quietly been doing very, very well indeed. Do you want to start by just saying a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into a little bit about Ether1, because I have covered it before.
Sure thing, Rich. Thanks for having us on, and we love your show. We love the work that you do. Ether1, it is a project that has utility and allows basically decentralized hosting. And I mean, that's just if you wanted to make it really short. You have the ability to bring your content here. And you can pay for it anonymously because it's crypto based. There's no censorship, and of course, because it's on a decentralized platform, it has all sorts of other benefits, like the ability denial of service attack, no vectored attacks. It's it's backed up. It's disaster recovery and business continuity, and all these other things are built in because your data isn't on one server. So whether it happens to be some private information you're selling or integrates directly into a website and web content, that's what we do. So it is a blockchain with a real functional utility. And a couple years ago when I ran across a project, I was excited about that, and I waved my hand to step up and try to help out. So, I mean, that's the short story of what we're at. We're a blockchain that actually does something. And
it's live right now. If I wanted to, I don't know, store some documents or videos or something.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. We've been live for several years. And the ability to use a project is very simple. You have a desktop wallet, and you can go through that wallet and basically set up your account. And you go and you host your materials, and you pay for it, of course, with Etho, which is our cryptocurrency, and that's available on several very prominent exchanges. It's not on it's on Gravix and a couple others, and Stex it's on as well. So you can go out. It trades against Bitcoin and other pairs. And so you go ahead and you load up your wallet with some of that, and then you pay for your hosting your content, which is almost minuscule, and you basically buy that amount of content for a certain period of time. And so you could say, I want to host like whatever that is for a month or a week or a year, and it's hosted. What's interesting about that is those fees that you pay are divvied up and paid to the node operators via smart contract. So if you actually want to participate in the network and you want to host the node, you actually get revenue from block production, but also you get revenue hosting fees. So you get two payments every time that there's one of our payment periods. So it's an opportunity to host content, and the money that you pay into the network doesn't go to quote the organization or somebody's pocket. It goes to everybody that participates. So it's a decentralized hosting system, and it's as strong as the people that we have on board, which is hundreds and hundreds of nodes around the world, from Europe and Asia and the United States and all over the place. So your content is distributed on a global scale. And something that's really cool about it, and a lot of people don't know that, it has the ability to migrate your data intelligently to where your users are. So for example, if you had a bunch of content, and let's use this example. As I mentioned on the BPSAA interview, our perfect customer would be somebody like WikiLeaks, somebody that's got some content that doesn't want to be censored, and that they want to have their free speech, and there's nobody there to tell them they can or can't say something, right? Now, let's say, for example, you happen to be somebody in Iran or one of the places that maybe there is some type of censorship, and you have your content that's there. Our data would actually migrate over the node network to the closest geographic set of servers in that area for low latency. So your data actually migrates depending on where it's being sucked from. So if you're an Iranian, let's say, political dissident, and you're really speaking to other Armenians, your content wouldn't be hosted in Los Angeles, California, going halfway across the world. It would migrate to the nodes that are in the closest region. So not only do we have this disaster recovery and business continuity built in by diversifying your data across nodes, it actually is intelligent and will move your data to where it's being used.
Wow,
It's
okay.
it's an amazing platform.
Chris, there is so much in what you said that I want to come to and ask, right? And then
Sure.
and then we're going to come to you because I think there's something particular that you're bringing to the project. So, I understood that you can't store much stuff on the blockchain. Blockchain is not good for storage. Also, is it secure? Is it encrypted? How do I know that there's nobody having a look inside?
Sure. Well, first of all, we use IPFS, right? So we are a payment layer over IPFS technology. There's some other blockchain projects that are out there that do that. But we have our own unique implementation of that, including, like I talked about, the ability to have data migrate to certain nodes. With IPFS, there's a thing called pinning, where you basically have to make sure that your data is paid or stuck to a particular server. We do all that for you. So your data is hosted. The data that you put up may not necessarily be encrypted. I mean, if you're hosting HTML files, all that data is there for people to see. What they can't see is the account that you use to post the data basically comes from a wallet address. And of course, with cryptocurrency, that we don't force you into KYC. We don't know who you are. You come onto Ether1, you get a wallet, you load up with some Ether1, and you start posting your data, and it comes from an esoteric, Ethereum-looking address that nobody understands. So the data itself is out there, and it's being used primarily for publishing. I mean, if you want to turn around and you want to encrypt your data and have it as a data store, well, then you better have the keys to decrypt it. But we are primarily a publishing avenue where you can host your data and share it with the world. What people can't do is it's impossible for them to tie your website or your data back to you, right? That data, they have no idea who posted it. Whereas, for example, if you went to GoDaddy and you had a website and the Department of Justice in the United States didn't like what you're saying, they could go to GoDaddy and say, hey, we don't like this website, take it down. And if they really didn't like your data, they get a search warrant and they tell GoDaddy, we want to know who posted this data. And then GoDaddy spills their guts, and then you've got the feds knocking on your back door, right, if they don't like what you're saying. Conversely, with us, it isn't on a single server, so they can't take it down from the server. There is no organization to file against because we are an open source project with no ownership. And then if they said take it down, even if there was an organization, we don't know who owns the wallet. So it's extraordinary. It's really extraordinary.
Okay. Now, if, for example, like I mentioned to you earlier that I got to strip my laptop. Could I open up, get a wallet, and then I can temporarily load those files on my laptop onto the node, keep them private, because with that, instead of using a USB stick?
You could do that, but that's really not what it is. We're really not a Dropbox or a file share. We're really not designed for that. We are really designed. I would say the best use of ours is this idea of hosting and hosting content. If you were going to upload terabytes of data to our website to us, it would be probably not so cost effective. It's very cost effective for typical websites and that type of thing. And also, we integrate that data that you put onto our network. It's integrated into your DNS, so the data is served up seamlessly. It pulls that data from the hash that we provide. It's really cool, and it's all built in the wallet. It's all right there. The instructions on how to be able to go ahead and host your data and integrate it is very cool. And further, some of the development things we're looking at is basically WordPress plugins and other things, because maybe there's some data that you don't necessarily care that's, let's say, anonymous data, or that it happens to want this specific functionality. So you don't have to host all your data with us. You could if you wanted, but it doesn't necessarily have to host everything. You can host parts of your data depending on what you think there needs to be privacy for.
Okay, all right, that's very clear. And you have websites, you have businesses, organizations using Ether1 right now?
Oh yeah, there's hundreds. There's all sorts of people hosting data, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll come to in a second how they're finding out about this. But let's go to your particular role.
Well, my role is that I would think that the people can hear is I really come from the business side of it. I know enough about the technology to be dangerous. I'm really good at cut and paste. I can cut and paste better than anybody.
Wow.
So I have no idea what I'm cutting and pasting, but I follow the rules and I can get up a node and I can run it. So, I'm not a tech guy. I come from business development. I've been doing enterprise software development for over 30 years, SAP systems, all sorts of enterprise data, and really business functionality. And so about 5 years ago, when the blockchain finally really started to surface and get more buzz rather than just Bitcoin, I started looking around and saying, wow, I like this idea of decentralization. I do not like having all my data in one place. I do not like having people be able to tell me what I can and cannot say. And so, I like the whole spirit of blockchain. And I have a software consulting company that's called Blockchain Soft, and that's my day job, is providing enterprise software systems and using blockchain as its extended functionality. And as I was hunting around for a blockchain project, I ran into Ether1 kind of as a crypto fan. Obviously, I'm a fan of the technology. And I've actually done quite a bit of development, and we have a couple systems built on Ether1 for blockchain track and trace and other things, and using the full Ethereum functionality. We are a Ethereum fork. We run our own network. We have our own nodes. We are our own coin. We're not a token. We are our own global blockchain. And I've actually developed using standard Solidity software. We've developed our own stuff. So what I do is I look at the business functionality. What do we need to use? Where can the blockchain be used for business? And then what tools can we use? And Ether1 is one of those tools in my tool chest. And I liked it so much, I raised my hand to participate in this open source project, to be part of a crypto community, and to try to give back a different perspective rather than just, let's say, crypto geeks and young gurus writing code, to be able to say, look, why are we writing this code? What does this code do? What's the adoption? Why do we need to do this? What do we need to use it for? So I ask much different questions than probably a 25-year-old guru coder.
Right. Okay. You're like a BUI, a business user interface, connecting Ether1 with real-world use cases in the business world, right? Does your role also include business development, like bringing on onboarding organizations?
I do. It's like any open source project, you volunteer and you do what you can when you can. And so I handle that, business discussions, I guess interviews like this. I'm also the representative to the BPSAA, that trade group, as we're trying to organize over there to be able to bring a cryptocurrency and projects to a higher level. So those are the roles. It's like everything else here, wear many hats, but I don't do coding. That's not my deal. I will work with the developers and give ideas. For example, one of the things that I came up with that I think was just out of happenstance happens to be our staking platform. And I might have mentioned that before. When you stake with Ether1 and you run a node, you get rewards, right? And so people need to have Ether1 to be able to have a payable node to make income as a node operator, right? You get dividends every period where you get paid. You get paid a hosting reward for the node, and you also get paid hosting revenue. You get basically two payments. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm running nodes and I'm doing all that and I'm saving all this cryptocurrency. And I'm thinking, look, I've got all this etho sitting in a wallet doing nothing. And there's all these people out there that want to be able to operate a node, but they don't have the money to do so. I'm like, well, why can't I loan them my money? I said, why can't we write a smart contract where I can deploy that and basically loan them the money? So this is kind of an idea of like business development, right? So I'm thinking, well, look, if I'm going to go ahead, Rich, and send you 30,000 etho for one of our gateway nodes, and I don't know who you are, you can just take the 30,000 etho for the wallet and say, thank you for the etho. If I say, well, I'm going to put the etho in my wallet, and I'm going to get all the rewards, and I promise to you, Rich, that every month I'm going to go ahead and send you what you deserve as a node operator, you're like, great. So you put up a node and you do all this work, and all of a sudden Chris keeps all the money and you don't get anything back. I said, why can't we write a smart contract that does that? And so our team did that, and we put together a smart contract where I can make an offering into our marketplace, the staking marketplace. A node operator could then take that contract. All the payments go into that smart contract, and every month he gets his portion, whatever we agree upon in the marketplace for a revenue split, and I get mine. And at the end, when he leaves, I get my deposit back, and it's all executed via smart contract. There's no human intervention. So we have a marketplace, and so was one idea, just based on saying, well, look, I've got 100,000 ethos sitting in a wallet, and it's collecting dust, and people need this to run nodes. Why not help them, and it helps me? So all these types of interesting functionality to be able to really use the technology is, I hope I can bring some added value there. So that's kind of my role.
Right. Okay. Because I don't have an Ether1, and I've looked at what would it take to run a node? And one of the things I don't know if I don't have the technical expertise, right? But then I'd have to go and get a sufficient Ether one to do that. But it doesn't look like it's very expensive even to run a part of a node or something, because there's different tiers.
That's correct. We have 3 different tiers. The main tier is a gateway node. There's a master node, and there's a service node. And the gateway node basically does all the heavy lifting, and it pays the greatest amount of rewards. So there's actually now, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but we could follow up. There are basically kind of turnkey node providers that have interfaced with our development team, where you basically can click and say, I want to buy an Etho node, and you click on their website and you purchase a node, or you rent it, I should say, for like a couple of dollars a month or something. I mean, very inexpensive. And then you go to our node marketplace and you said, hey, I'm going to borrow the Etho because I don't have the money to buy it, even though now our currency's a little bit soft on price. It's not as expensive as it was. Before it was $300-400 to be able to host a node, and you say, look, I don't want to put that money out, and now you could go borrow money for myself or other Etho holders, and they're the interest is negotiable. Some people want 5%, some people want 50% of it's a revenue split, and you can find an offer there that you think works great, and so you click on to borrow the money from the node marketplace, you click on the node operator, and with 2 or 3 clicks, all of a sudden you're running a node and you're making money. It's really cool.
Oh, that's very appealing. I like the push button bit, because I can't do the coding business. Okay, all right. Well, look, what I want to do is have a look at the roadmap.
Yep.
But before I do that, the impression that I have from you, Chris, or that I formed anyway in this conversation, is that this is a project that's pretty much complete. And the thing about software is always being developed. There's always new things being added.
Constantly.
But it's not like, you're already out in the marketplace looking for a business and people
for years.
Absolutely. And stuff.
Yeah.
So that's quite something. So let's have a look at the roadmap.
Okay. All right. I have a copy of that in front of me.